Policy affects everyone.
I think policy is the structure and guidelines that enable our society to thrive.
Policy is a set of principles that guides a course of action.
It's a really diverse area, but usually it's got something to do with making Queenslanders' lives better and making Queensland a better state to live in.
For me, being a policy officer is all about bringing your skill and your background to find the best solutions to societal issues.
I think policy is not only about taking ideas and turning them into reality, but also solving the real challenges that people are facing.
To me, public policy is all the rules and regulations which underpin the function of society and really guide public life. And it's sort of the structural frame which promotes our sense of order and reflects the values and priorities of the community.
Ultimately, the goal of good public policy is to make good decisions that benefit the public when responding to these kind of issues. Public policy itself is diverse. It's everything from national parks to educational standards to even seatbelt requirements. All of that is public policy, and it's the government making decisions for the public good.
To me, public policy is the opportunity to solve problems and affect purposeful and sustainable change in the community. Ideally, it is government's intention and statement of what they want to do, be it through legislation, funding, advocacy, or even just regulation.
The role of a policy officer is to contribute to the formation of policy by working to develop solutions and develop improvements to all aspects of public life through government action, and it's really to ensure that the policy product that government delivers is well researched and that it's people focused and it's accurate.
The day-to-day nature of the role of a policy officer can be extremely different. To me, at its simplest, the role of a policy officer is to support the government of the day to achieve the public good through the initiatives it's chosen to promote.
The role of a policy officer is so broad and varied, which is great because it means no day is the same. Depending on the department you're in the morning you might be writing briefs or drafting legislation, and then in the afternoon engaging with the public.
Being a policy officer is different to what I expected it to be, but ultimately because I wasn't quite sure what to expect in the first place. It has exceeded my expectations and been even more of a wonderful experience than I expected.
Policy is so incredibly broad. It really shocked me as a graduate coming in. It's everything from fisheries to overcrowding in prisons to new highways and transport, and even, what children learn in different years of school. Policy is really, really broad, and it's very exciting to be involved.
Being a policy officer is somewhat different, but also similar to what I first expected. Obviously, coming into the role, I didn't have too much experience or a reference point of what a policy officer actually does, so it was hard to have too many preconceived ideas. But I think a big surprise for me in the role has been how closely I've been allowed to interact with legislation. Obviously, it's a pretty cool thing to be able to play a small part in governing and developing the laws that govern society. So to have had such an active involvement in that has been a massive surprise and a real feature of the role.
Good public policy development and implementation is important because of the authority and the impact that policy has in structuring our whole society and structuring our whole economy. It's really the role of policy officers to ensure that they're transparent and that they're intentional in creating policy that best fits its purpose and best serves the public interest.
Public policy can empower people, make services more efficient, provide access and opportunity to different people, and ultimately improve people's lives.
And so policy really can frame and shape the way we as a state develop and grow. So for me, ensuring public policy is well researched, it is of high quality, ensures that the outcomes for everyday people, like our parents and families and communities, are the best that they can be.
Public policy development and implementation is so important because it is so intrinsically linked to the health, well-being and functionality of the community. Obviously, policy affects a range of stakeholders, so to have policy that is well considered, thought out and implemented so that it is not just a one-size-fits-all approach, but has really sort of vast and broad implications for a lot of people is really important.
You really get to make sure that you've informed the decision makers that you're working for of all the options available to them, and you get to make sure that they've really thought about those and know what all of the pros and cons of each option are.
As a policy professional, I think being able to actually contribute back to society and have and make and produce meaningful work is definitely something that inspires me to continue in this role.